Hey everyone, welcome back to the Brass Gaming Podcast. My name is Christian. Alongside me is my best friend of 14 years, besides Espen, who I've only known for about 2 at this point. Mike, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
We're great to have you on. We wanted to bring him on for a little bit of a special episode. This deck that we're talking about today is the cEDH build of Meren of Clan Nel Toth.
She is a 3/4 for 2 and black and green. Her effect is whenever another creature you control dies, you get an experience counter, which is a counter that no one can really interact with. At the beginning of your end step, you choose a creature card in your graveyard, and you either bring it to you. At the beginning of your end step, choose target creature card in your graveyard. If that card's converted mana cost is less than or equal to the number of experience counters you control, return to the battlefield. Otherwise, put it into your hand.
So you can tell just by hearing Meren alone that she's just generically powerful. I mean, her effect is something that, experience counters are already kind of broken as they are because they're so hard to interact with. I think there's like one creature that can interact with them. But,
Sun Cleanser.
Yeah, Sun Cleanser can interact with them, but not very many things in Magic can interact with experience counters.
Yeah, I think there's only 2. There's Slimity, and I think there's just
Sun Cleanser. Yeah, absolutely. So before we go any further, guys, we noticed that a lot of you guys that watch our videos aren't actually subscribed. So if you please hit that subscribe button and hit the little bell right by it. Also, if you can drop us a like, share, and a comment on this video, we really appreciate it. We love all the interaction. We respond to every comment we can. And yeah, so Meren. Meren is one of those commanders that she's Golgari, so you have a lot of really powerful stuff. And in this build alone, we're gonna get right into the combos.
Yeah.
So starting out, we got a Protein Hulk line, and yeah, Protein Hulk used to be the bane of this format. Everyone used to hate Protein Hulk, but I think in this deck it's a little bit more bearable because you're not. Well, yes, it is possible to play Meren turn 2. You're not Protein Hulk winning turn 2 typically.
No.
It's usually a little bit later in the game. You usually need a sack outlet to get him to die, but besides the point, so let's start off with Protein Hulk himself. So Protein Hulk is 5 colorless, green for a 6/6. Protein Hulk reads, when Protein Hulk dies, search your library for any number of creature cards with total converted mana cost 6 or less, then put all of them onto the battlefield, then shuffle your library. So it's got a line.
It does.
It's got a line that is actually a little bit more bearable than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because most Protein Hulk lines are kind of unbearable and they win really quickly. At least this one is kind of interesting for the most part.
Yeah.
Still very difficult to interact with. You know, you really have to deal with what I'm going to read next. So, start off, we need 6 CMC total of creatures. So we're going to start off with our sack outlet that we need, which is Viscera. Viscera is 1 black for a 1/1. He reads, sacrifice a creature, scry 1. So, just a free outlet. He can sack himself too, just in case you need to. But you typically don't want to do that with this. You want to use it to sacrifice the important creature with this combo. And that important creature is Lesser Masticore. This is 2 colorless. As an additional cost to cast a spell, discard a card, which doesn't matter because you're not casting it.
Yeah.
And then it reads 4 colorless. Lesser Masticore deals 1 damage to target creature. Again, not relevant. That's not why you're playing Lesser Masticore. You're playing Lesser Masticore because it has Persist. Persist is a keyword that reads, when this creature dies, if it had no -1/-1 counters on it, return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a -1/-1 counter on it. Oh, wait. That means after we sack it the first time, it's going to come back and it's a -1/-1 counter, and we're not going to be able to do anything with it. Well, that's why we have Melira Sylvok Outcast. She's 1 colorless and a green for a 2/2. You can get poison counters. Creatures you control can't have -1/-1 counters placed on them, and creatures your opponents control lose infect.
Which is the second.
Yeah, it's the second 2-drop piece that you needed. So, so we have 2 for Lesser Masticore, 1 for Viscera, and then 2 for Melira. So that's 5 total. Melira serves a little bit of utility as well. I know in my Kinnan Bonder Prodigy build, one of the ways I like to just take wins really quickly is just cheat out a Blightsteel Colossus and get it for that trample infect win, which Melira just sometimes, she just stops that.
Yeah.
She says, now you have an 11/11 with trample, get bent, idiot.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's just what it says. So finally, you have your sack outlet. You have your creature going to sack. You have a way to make sure it doesn't enter with counters. How do you win with this combo? Well, this is Disciple of the Vault. Disciple of the Vault is a black 1/1 creature. Whenever an artifact is put into a graveyard from play, you may have target opponent lose 1 life. Very easy to see where this is going. You're going to Protein Hulk, get your pieces out, get all 6 CMC of these pieces. You're going to sacrifice Lesser Masticore to Viscera, and you're going to drain someone for 1. Yep. Masticore's going to enter. Oh no, it can't put a -1 on it because of malaria. And you're just going to rinse and repeat. Yeah. You're going to get a bunch of scries too, which probably not going to matter.
I mean, it could, depending on the situation.
It could if they can eventually, like, I don't know, they exile it from your graveyard, they do something to interact with it. Yeah. However, I don't think it's very likely. I think they're probably just they're gonna have to do it that way, but I don't think it's very likely just because most of the time, there's not a whole lot of stuff in cEDH specifically that deals with this, you know, and maybe an early Rest in Peace or something like that is going to stop you.
Or Leyline in the Void.
But even then, this deck has plenty of ways to get past it. So there's actually another combo in this deck that is my favorite combo. So I'm like, what is this combo?
It's Earthcraft, which is the first part of this combo. It's a 2 CMC, one generic, 1 green enchantment that reads, you tap an untapped creature you control, untap target basic land. I think, did that get updated to any land or is it basic land?
I wouldn't know. You guys tell us in the comments so we don't embarrass ourselves too much.
Yeah. And then Scroll Nest, which is 1 generic green. It's an enchantment aura and enchants land. Enchanted land has tap great 1 green, 1/1 green squirrel token. So you basically create an infinite amount of tokens with Earthcraft and Scroll Nest because it doesn't Earthcraft doesn't require them to have haste, so you just tap the land, untap it with Earthcraft, and you make as many as you so desire.
Tap the land, make a squirrel, tap the squirrel to untap the land, tap the squirrel's nest, make a squirrel, tap the squirrel, untap the land, and you have infinite squirrels.
Yep, and you have a lot of versatility with this these 2 cards, so if you don't have your Protein Hawk out, you can, once we get into it, you have ways of being able to utilize these infinite squirrels.
Biggest downside, though, of these is that they do not have haste.
That is true.
And I'm pretty sure in the cEDH build, there's actually no way to give these creatures haste.
There isn't, so if you wanted to get cheeky and win with your infinite squirrels, you'd have to do it at the end of your opponent's turn,
which sometimes isn't reliable. Most of the time, you're just doing it on your turn, making a bunch of scrolls and saying, answer these or everyone dies.
Yeah.
So the next section is sacrifice outlets, and we have some pretty interesting ones. As you can tell, we want creatures in the graveyard, and we want to take advantage of that. Obviously, Meren's going to bring them back. Yeah. So Mike, what are some of the sack outlets we have in this deck?
The first one is Birthing Pod. It's 3 generic for Phyrexian green, which you can either pay with 2 life or a green. And then its effect is 1 green, 1 Phyrexian, one Phyrexian green, 1 generic. Tap. Sacrifice a creature. Search your library for a creature card with CMC equal to 1 plus the sacrifice creature's converting mana cost. Put that card into the battlefield, then shuffle your library. Activate this ability only anytime you can cast a sorcery. So this is one of the ways you can utilize your infinite scrolls. Is sure, you're only getting a 1-drop, but that 1-drop could make a difference.
I mean, that 1-drop turns into a 2-drop, 2 to a 3, and it's putting stuff in your graveyard.
Yeah,
which is super, super relevant. This next one is another free sack outlet, actually.
Carrion Feeder. It's a 1 black for a 1/1. Carrion Feeder can't block. Then second part of its text is sacrifice a creature, put a +1/+1 counter on Carrion Feeder. So again, if you have enough squirrels, or if you have enough squirrels, boom, you have an infinite Carrion Feeder that can just kill something, or you can use it in replace for your Viscera Seer if you have Carrion Feeder over Viscera Seer for your Protein Hawk line, which your Protein Hawk line can grab Carrion Feeder. Interesting sack outlet that I've came to enjoy is Yawgmoth, Thran Physician. 2 generic and 2 black for a legendary creature human cleric. He has protection from humans, pay 1 life, sacrifice another creature, put -1/-1 up to 1 creature, and then you draw a card. Pay 2 black, discard a card, and you proliferate, which you add another counter of anything. So you could discard, get your get your experience counters up. You could kill off a creature your opponent has. Again, Earthcraft, you can draw into your combo. Easy.
Yeah. Yeah, not bad at all. So we have some tutors here, and most of these are pretty standard for a deck like this. Not super crazy as, you know, unfortunately with a lot of cEDH decks, you pretty much play the ideal stuff, and you don't have a lot of time to play the really spicy stuff. But nonetheless, I mean, a couple of these are my favorite tutors that exist in all of Commander. So we're gonna start off with Buried Alive. For 2 colorless and a black as a sorcery, search your library for up to 3 creature cards, put them into your graveyard and shuffle your library. This is Meren. You want stuff in the graveyard. Pretty simple enough.
Yep.
So next we have Entomb. 1 black for an instant. Search your library for a card. Put that card into your graveyard, then shuffle your library. Good thing about Entomb is it grabs any card. You're probably going to grab a creature in this deck. However, if you need something else in your graveyard for whatever reason, just grab it from your deck. And finally, we have Razaketh the Foul-Blooded. For 5 colorless, black. It's a legendary creature. It's an 8/8. It has flying and trample. You can pay 2 life, sacrifice another creature, search your library for a card, and put that card in your hand, then shuffle your library. Just a powerhouse. I mean, this is a sack outlet. Sure, it loses you a little bit of life, but it's in a deck like this, it's going to get you your important piece.
Yeah, and he helped me recently in a game I had Monday, too.
Absolutely. And so, what we're playing Golgari. We definitely have some interaction. So, Mike, what are some of the pieces of interaction that exist within this deck?
The first interaction we have, which is one of my favorite because I don't think you see Abrupt Decay often, which is a black and a green for an instant. Abrupt Decay can't be countered by spells or abilities, and you can destroy target non-land permanent with CMC 3 or less. So it gets rid of Kinnan, it gets rid of any
pretty much gets rid of anything super relevant that's gonna mostly affect your graveyard, which is the big things. And it could be a proactive card as well and deal with, like I said, stuff like Kinnan, stuff like really problematic small creatures, potentially even like Collector Oof, Null Rod, stuff like that.
Or Rest in Peace. The next one we have is Assassin's Trophy, which is black and green, like Abrupt Decay. You destroy target permanent and opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put into the battlefield, and shuffle their library.
Deals with anything.
It's
just Abrupt Decay, but deals with anything. Yeah, it gives them a land, but in cEDH, everyone's pieces matter, and just being able to get rid of something super relevant is good enough for a slot in a deck like this.
Yeah. The last piece of interaction that we're showcasing today is Veil of Summer, which is for 1 green and an instant. You draw a card if an opponent has cast a blue or black spell this turn. Spells you control can be countered this turn. And you and permanents you control gain hexproof from blue and from black until end of turn.
Again, Veil of Summer speaks for itself. It's arguably the best piece of protection that green has. And overall, just super overwhelming of a card. Sometimes it's just a blowout against a lot of decks in this format. So second to last, not finally, I shouldn't say that yet, we have some of the interesting creatures. Start off with Caustic Caterpillar. This is a green for 1/1. Caustic Caterpillar has an ability, however, that is a colorless and a green, sacrifice it, destroy target artifact or enchantment. Just another way to deal with artifacts or enchantments. You know, it's just a good utility card, and it goes to your graveyard and can bring itself back because it gives you that experience counter with right away.
So like if you encounter like a Null Rod or whatever.
Stuff like that. So next we have Destiny Spinner. For 1 colorless and a green, for a 2/3, she reads, creature and enchantment spells you control can't be countered, which is really good. And it also reads, for 3 colors and a green, target land you control becomes an XX elemental creature with trample and haste until end of turn, where X is the number of enchantments you control. It's still a land. So in a pinch, it can make a land a creature, which that's good. I mean, however, the best part about this is creatures and enchantment spells you control can't be countered.
Which a couple of your combos are creatures or enchantments, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, really good. And then finally we have one of the most annoying cards in all of Commander, which is Mind Slicer. Mind Slicer is 2 colorless, 2 black for a 4/3. When Mind Slicer is put into a graveyard from play, each player discards his or her hand. So, discarding your hand, well, you're going to be doing it a lot.
Yeah.
Because with all your sack outlets, and this card's going to always come back. Yeah, no one's going to have a hand for probably the rest of the game if this hits the graveyard or hits the field. And so finally, Mike, what are some of the fun cards in this deck?
Some of the cards I find fun in this deck is Grim Flare. Black and green for normal human warrior. He has Trample. Whenever Grim Flare deals combat damage to a player, look at the top 3 cards of your library. Put any number of them into your graveyard and the rest back on top of your library in any order. Delirium, Grim Flare gets +2/+2 as long as there are 4 or more card types among cards in graveyard, which it's going to be easy to get. Sure on turn 2 or even turn 1, you're not going to have those 4 card types in your graveyard, but being able to look at the top 3 and be able to sculpt your next draw, sculpt what's going to be in your graveyard, it's really good. It's one of my personal favorites in this deck, besides the commander itself. Then we have Life and Death. Life is a split card. Life reads, it's 1 green for a sorcery. All lands you control become 1/1 creatures until end of turn. They're still lands, which is good. It helps you get creatures you can sack off, or do things for tutor purposes, or just be able to end a game potentially. Then Death reads, one generic and a black for a sorcery. You get to return target creature card from your graveyard to the battlefield. You lose life equal to its converted mana cost, which is, sure, you might be losing some life. You might be losing a lot of life if you return Protein Hawk just to grab another combo. But your life is a resource at your expense. If you feel like you can grab something big, grab something big.
Got one more there.
I do got one more there. Plunge into Darkness. It's another favorite. It's a 1 generic, 1 black for instant. You can choose 1, and then it has an entwined cost. Sacrifice a number of creatures, then you gain 3 life for each creature sacrificed this way, or pay X life, then look at the top X cards of your library, put 1 into your hand, and the rest, 1 of those cards in your hand, and remove the rest from the game.
Yeah. Plunge to Darkness is just one of those cards where it's going to help sculpt your library.
Yeah.
You're going to get something that you want right away. It's something that you play when you're trying to be aggressive going for that Protein Hawk, or aggressive looking for that additional combo piece. It's just a good utility card overall, one of the most popular spells in cEDH, especially amongst black decks. So guys, finally, as we always do, we're going to plug our social medias. If you want to follow the channel, it's at Real Brass Gaming. If you want to follow me, it's at HexmasterReal. If you want to follow Espen for whatever reason, it's at ESPN_1926. And Mike, do you have anything you want to plug today?
Not really. I don't really use Twitter all that often. I have a Twitter, I just use it to browse, really.
All right, that's fair enough. So guys, for the Brass Gaming Podcast, I'm Christian.
I'm Michael.
And we'll see you later. Bye-bye.